Hey, we got to get to it. There's some really important stories here. I want to start with John Kraft, Edgar County Watchdog. What is this?
Watchdog Wednesday.
Yes. So you wrote the story. Former Kane County prosecutor sues over alleged retaliation for reporting an institutionalized backdating practice. More importantly, though, this practice is linked to the potential masking of the handling of a DUI case that resulted in a later fatal crash, and that's part of this entire cover-up. John, please do explain to our audience. This is a big story.
Well, thanks for having us again, Jeannie. There's a former assistant prosecutor in Kane County who's filed a whistleblower lawsuit. He had come across backdating practices. So what they were doing was in order to avoid paying overtime to the court employees who I guess were union, they went home before the court date or paperwork was finished, and then they would finish it at the next day or two when they came back to work and backdate it to the original date. And this happened during the same time frame that the Kane County prosecutor was under scrutiny from the Secretary of State and the U.S. Department of Transportation over their handling of at least one DUI case. But the DUI case that was being scrutinized involved a masking of a CDL license. The guy got a DUI with drugs, and the court ordered the clerk not to notify the Secretary of State. And then later on, a few months later, the guy got in an accident with his CDL, drunk or under the influence again, and rear-ended a neighboring county's sheriff's deputy and killed her. That's all. The prosecutor who filed the lawsuit says that this, may have contributed to backdating, may have contributed to this masking of CDL DUIs.
Well, is the guy in jail?
Oh yeah, he's in jail for a long time.
Okay. Yeah, but has his CDL been yanked?
Finally, after everybody started reading what we were writing, and then other news agencies picked it up. But that was in 24 that we started writing about it, and when we asked for the Kane County State's Attorney to explain things, it's just like, it was just an honest mistake, and that's what he told U.S. DOT and the Secretary of State. So I think they stopped there, even though they were supposed to. They said they were going to review DUIs throughout the whole county, but I seriously doubt if they did.
Well, so then now you're seeing a pattern of misconduct, not just the backdating, also screwing with employee hours, also now this masking incident that actually did happen. And so you've got to have like zero confidence in the leadership there that they're doing things above board.
Right, and the backdating happened in a variety of cases, not just traffic cases. Mm-hmm. And the assistant state's attorney, former, that's a filing lawsuit. When he took the job, he was trained that this is how it works here in Kane County. So at the time, he didn't question it. But when he was starting to question it, that he got fired right after the investigators brought him in and had him make a statement. And then they explained the whole backdating practice of the entire office, and then 2 days later he was fired.
I'm not sure, but I don't think you can backdate, mortgage documents that you sign before you take possession of a house or anything like that. I mean, anything.
Or court documents. You can't backdate court documents. That's why they're supposed to be stamped and dated signed, dated, stamped the day that it happens. You don't create the document and then 3 days later backdate it to where you wanted it to be. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, you get in trouble with that if you try that with the IRS or anything else. Okay,
Right.
let's go really quickly. Just tell us about Keith Freeman.
Keith Freeman, he pled guilty to bankruptcy fraud and IRS fraud. As part of the plea agreement, he has to truthfully cooperate and testify on other things asked of him by the U.S. Attorney of the Northern District of Illinois. His sentencing date is postponed until he is finished with his cooperation and testimony.
So
that
you may...
that tells me that Tiffany Henyard may be held accountable. I don't know.
Oh, really?
So tell people who Keith Freeman was.
Keith Freeman was Tiffany Henyard's village administrator, and she also hired him at the township. And back in January of 24, I believe, he filed bankruptcy a few months before that, and somebody tipped us off. We reviewed his bankruptcy filings, noticed that he only included income from the township and not income from the village on his income for his bankruptcy. So I got all the documents and sent it to a bankruptcy trustee, and within days, they sent subpoenas down to the township and the village, and within days of that, they brought him in, questioned him, and got approval from the bankruptcy court to do an investigation, and then they ended up indicting him on the bankruptcy fraud and a whole lot of other things.
Look what would have none of this would have happened if you guys hadn't done that work, John.
Well,
none of it.
And it wouldn't have happened if somebody wouldn't have tipped us off that he filed bankruptcy and didn't include his income.
Well,
you have great sources.
Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Because without that, they wouldn't have anything to hold over him so that he can turn evidence on Tiffany Henyard.
Correct.
So it sounds to me like you're going to win the bet against you and Kirk.
Well, I hope so.
What's your bet?
Oh, probably a cup of coffee. I say she's going to get prosecuted. He believes that she's not going to get prosecuted.
Okay, I think you should bet more than a cup of coffee. Maybe throw in a sandwich or something.
Yeah, this is her second lead person that has pled guilty to bankruptcy fraud, and their plea agreement and sentencing includes they have to truthfully cooperate and testify on other things.
Well, this is getting interesting as she runs for office in Georgia. But let's move to Kirk Allen. He's got some information that he wanted to share about Department of Corrections. This is Watchdog Wednesday, guys, so listen up. They got a lot to share. Kirk, are you there?
Kirk keeps saying he keeps getting a busy segment.
He can't get on the line?
No.
Okay, well, all right.
Well, he loses the bet. No.
Well, we'll catch up with him next week then.
But we do have another one from Edgar County.
Okay, let's hear that one quick.
One of our judges was arrested for a DUI last fall, and last week he ended up pleading guilty to reckless driving, and they discharged the driving under the influence, improper lane usage, and illegal transportation of alcoholic liquor by a driver.
You're kidding.
They didn't even afford that to Justin Timberlake. I mean, how did a judge get out of that?
You're kidding me.
Well, he was arrested and charged in Coles County, which is the next county over.
Yeah.
They may have screwed up, the arresting process. He refused to take a breathalyzer, but he's under 12-month supervision with no alcohol or going to any bars. He paid $3,200+ in fines. He went to DUI school and he completed alcohol treatment since he was arrested.
Okay, that all sounds like he should have been charged with and convicted of DUI.
Well, there may be. We weren't in the courtroom when the discussion was going on. This was a plea agreement, so
Good grief.
It's all about plea agreements these days. So that was a withhold judgment supervision. So when his 12-month supervision is over, it goes off of his record. That's what the withhold judgment designation is. I did that with a speeding ticket years ago.
Yeah, it's not a DUI; it's a speeding ticket. And you're a judge, and you had open container or unlawfully, transportation of alcohol, which definitely means open container.
Did he say, "Do you know who I am"?
He didn't have to.
I watched the video. He did mention that he was a judge, but he didn't. In my opinion, from watching the video, it wasn't. I don't get the feeling that he was trying to influence what the Charleston police were doing. Mm-hmm. By the way, that he told them that he was a judge in Edgar County.
Okay. All right, we're going to leave it right there. We'll be back after a brief message, right?
Jeanne and everybody else, you'll never believe